Hey guys, Brooke and Laura here with Legal Talk Tuesday. We had a little break from the live show last week. I was on vacation and we were taking a little bit of time for ourselves and for our family. So we hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. We are talking today about flat fees and specifically what they are, why they're important, what they can do for you, and things to kind of watch out for. So we will start by talking about what they are. Some of you may not know. Some of you think it's probably pretty straightforward, but a flat fee is a specific fixed fee, and it's going to be the total price for the whole of your legal representation. And so what I mean by that is that this rate as a flat fee is going to be what you pay in the end. So if you get that at the beginning, if someone's giving you a flat rate, it should be the only rate that you're going to pay for that specific service. Of course, there are other things, and we'll get into that, that could change that flat fee a bit. But the flat fee in general should be the total cost of your legal representation. So for all the work, there shouldn't be any tricks, surprises, just no BS for the whole thing. You should be able to know what you're paying, what you're getting for that flat amount, what's included, what's not included, and not have a surprise bill later or some fee that wasn't fixed in or some contingency as in, we're going to do it for this amount, but if it doesn't work out, then you're not going to get it for that amount. That's not a flat fee.
Great. So that's actually a really good segue into what flat fees are not. So flat fees, like Brooke said, one price, that's, you're not going to get those surprises, but there are several things that they are not. And it's one of those things that you just have to be aware. And, our theme today is make sure to ask questions of your attorney. Make sure you know everything. So one of the things that flat fees are not is a retainer. We hear people use the word retainer a lot. I think some of that is because we like to watch TV and movies that are lawyer focused, and people always talk about I have a lawyer on retainer or whatever that means. Flat fees are not a retainer. A retainer is kind of like a down payment. You pay, let's say, $2,000 to your attorney to start working for you on whatever your specific issue is. But when that $2,000 runs out, because they're basically using that to bill down their hourly fee, any kind of court fees and things like that, you either are going to have to pay a new chunk of money, or you're going to get billed on a regular basis for things like their hourly fee or any new fees that come up for the work that they perform. So you hear the word retainer, you may think it's one thing, but it's really a chunk of money that you pay down. And then once that's gone, you either have to pay a new chunk of money, and it's not a fixed kind of thing, even though they say $2,000. It's not a fixed thing. It's just this is kind of our insurance, basically. So another thing that flat fees are not is one price for one part and then another price for another part. So we see that more with criminal cases. A lot of criminal defense attorneys will charge like one fee for, arraignment, and one fee for, settlement. If it doesn't settle and you have to go to trial, then there's another fee for that. And they have the ones that I've seen have fairly specific contracts that are fairly long because they want to, make sure that you understand all that. But that's not a fixed fee. That's not a flat rate. That's a if this, then that kind of thing. So it's more of a, you're still going to be paying for expenses and things like that. I've seen with criminal cases, I've seen $12,000 up to settlement. And then after that, it might be an extra $20,000 or $30,000. It's expensive to keep yourself out of jail. But that's just, we see that sometimes in civil cases too, but that's not a flat fee. That's a different kind of way that you're paying your attorney.
Right. And like Laura said, just ask questions. You should know whether it's, a billable hour or a flat fee, you should know what is included and what it is that you are paying for. We see that a lot where people maybe don't even know the fees that they're paying, even on an hourly basis. They don't know what they're being charged for, what that looks like. Attorneys have a duty to actually, keep up with that and be accountable to you for where they're spending your money.
Exactly.
So yeah. I was having a technical issue, so Laura, I just told Laura to keep going because I was having some issues over here. But another thing that we wanted to talk about, obviously, if you've listened to us much at all or visited our website, you know that we do offer flat fees. All of our fees are flat fees because we want to be transparent. We want you to be able to predict and plan out for your legal services. And we very much communicate what that looks like. But we want you to make sure and be aware, because the whole point of us, doing these lives is to give you valuable information. We want you to walk away with something of value to be able to apply, to your situation, whether you're working with us or working with someone else. But you do need to watch out when you're hiring an attorney that advertises flat fees. Some of those things we've kind of touched on as we've been talking, but it really truly is a flat fee. A lot of attorneys are going to, advertise that they offer flat fees. But again, like Laura said, they treat it more like a retainer. We'll pay this amount, and then, they're going to work against that. But you're going to have to replenish that with maybe another flat rate later. And so you don't really know, and it's hard really for attorneys, especially in certain situations like family law, to tell you exactly how much something's going to cost because they don't know exactly how the case is going to go. And so, they're going to be billing down against that. But if you want to go to step 2, there's another, retainer or another, you're going to have to replenish that money, those funds. And so, flat fees are different from payment plans. Flat fees are different from retainers. If you, have any questions, you should ask them. You should be asking anyways. You should go in prepared when you're meeting with an attorney, when you're going to hire an attorney. You should go in prepared with questions to ask specifically about money. And I know that's uncomfortable. And I know even attorneys really kind of shy away and don't like having to talk about the, money piece of it. And so, but go in and ask. If they say, this is how much we're going to charge you. Okay. Is that all you're going to charge? When will you start charging more? What does that look like? How much are you, are you billing by the hour? Is this a flat rate? If you're billing by the hour, what is your rate? Are you the only person working on this case, or are there other people? What is their rate if they're working? Because in larger firms, there's generally kind of a hierarchy of different people working on your case that bill at different rates. And what things are they going to be billing for? Are you going to be billed for somebody, addressing and stamping and sending a letter? Yes, you probably are. But, especially if you're being billed by the hour. So those are important things to ask.
Yeah.
You also want to make sure that you really understand, the whole story, the whole picture. This is with anything, not just necessarily fees. You definitely want to know what you're paying for, but you also want to know what the strategy, what the plan is, because often people go in and just say, okay, take care of this. And yes, your attorney has the knowledge, has the experience, so you should listen and trust your attorney. But at the same time, again, the attorney needs to be accountable to you for the money and for the work that they're doing. So you just make sure you know what their strategy is, because if the strategy is, okay, well, we're going to do this piece, and it's going to cost you this, and, we should be done. But, let me take care of it. Let me take your money and let me handle everything. But then what if that's not necessarily, cost effective? What if they're, not necessarily, like in a divorce, we like to go ahead and, if you've agreed on stuff, kind of send an agreed decree for you to work from, to start from there. A lot of times we don't see that when people are represented by attorneys. And so, is that an additional fee, or are you going to start working from there? Because if you're working from there, it probably is going to be more cost effective. But if you're not, then you may end up having to argue, and there may be another fee in addition to that. So those are just a few of the things that you need to watch out for when you're talking to your attorney, to make sure that they genuinely are offering a flat fee and it's just not a pay as you go. I think that's a better way to explain it. You're not paying this rate as you go. Now, there's nothing wrong with breaking it up. And they could say, this piece is going to cost this much. This piece is going to cost this much. That's perfectly fine. That can be a flat fee. And that includes this. But you should know what each piece costs, what the likelihood you're going to be involved in each piece is, and what that whole story is, what it's going to look like.
Yeah. And just a quick real life example of that, I had a friend reach out to me because somebody in another state, it's an attorney in another state, so I'm not calling out anybody here in Arkansas, who charged $3,500 to file a divorce for someone and for a client. And all she did was file the divorce and, you know, have the initial consultation and that kind of thing. And then when it came time to move to the next step, and these are parents who are agreeing on things. When it came time to move to the next step, the attorney told her that would be another $1,500 if you want me to do anything about custody or child support. And then if you want me to do a decree, then that's going to be another fee. But she didn't know that stuff up front. So just keep that in mind. You know, basically the moral of the story, and to kind of wrap up our talk today, is people, we talk to people all the time who don't know what they're paying their attorney. They don't know how they're paying them. They don't know what the billable rate is. You know, they don't really understand. And you have to feel a sense of empowerment. You have to take some ownership on yourself, because this is your money. This is your issue. This is your case. And you have the right to ask those questions. So as uncomfortable as it may be, don't be shy, because it's your money. So, and it's your issue, and you need to know how much you're going to be paying for it. It's not always possible to give you an exact dollar amount. Brooke and I can do that because we do the limited scope representation. So our representation is different than somebody who goes to court with you. But ask those questions. It's your information that you need to know. So we appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much for listening to us talk about fees. And we'll see you next week. Please join us on Tuesday at 11:30 next week. Thanks so much, and have a great week.